Hi kids, it's Granny. Time for another story time video. Today we're gonna do about 3 years of my life from 8th to 11th grade, leaving out a couple of things that I'll include in later videos. If you've been watching, great. If you haven't, and you want to kind of picture where we're at, this is the Bay Area in California, 1973. My idol was Marsha Brady, and I'm sitting in English class, third period. Here we go. New girl comes into class. Platinum blonde hair that's trying like crazy to curl, but you can tell that she's done all that she could to prevent that. Kind of a tall girl. She came in, she sat down, and you know, by the time you're in 8th grade, you don't pay a whole lot of attention to a new student. I knew she was there, I learned her name, and that was about it. Over the course of that semester in that English class, I started talking to her, and I really kind of got a kick out of this girl. She was really sarcastic. She was kind of snide, very smart, and there was something about her sense of humor and her ballsiness that I really liked. She started hanging out with my best friend Carol and I, and we kind of became a threesome. In fact, after our friendship really grew close, we called each other the Triamese Triplies, because Carol and I had always joked that we were Siamese twins, so then when Jeannie came along, we became the Triamese Triplies. We actually even had matching t-shirts and hats for a little while that Carol's mother sewed for us. She was amazing. She sewed us these little, I guess they were velveteen driving caps. And I mean, we didn't come to school dressed identically. That would have, oh God, we would have been laughed out of town. But occasionally if we went like to the city or we went camping together or something, we would wear these little matching outfits. Triamese Triplies. All right, so the three of us were an interesting little bunch. Carol was Jewish, I was Protestant, Jeannie was Catholic. So we had three of the major religions represented. I mean, Protestantism and Catholicism are all branches of both branches of Christianity, but you know, still different churches, different experiences. But we adored each other. Jeannie had an interesting home life. Her family was quite wealthy, her father being one of the most noted heart surgeons in the country, I believe. And her mom was not a happy woman. She really was not happy. I think she had put her husband through medical school, and now, you know, he was kind of off doing his thing, had this great career, and she was at home with the kids. And I don't think she was a very satisfied person. A lot of times I remember going over there, and she had some kind of a product that she used on her skin, and we would come over and she would be so shiny, it was like almost scary, this really shiny stuff on her face. But in any case, she had a white carpet. Now, if I had 2 children and a dog, which they did, white carpet wouldn't be my choice, but that's what she had. So we didn't really play in the house. We were allowed to go into Jeannie's room for a very short time, and she would ask us to like go play card games outside. So we would go outside. We generally didn't play cards because cards were really, we thought it was really corny. So, you know, we would laugh, and one of our favorite things to do was to take my portable cassette tape recorder, and we would record these fictional radio shows, and we thought that was just hilarious. They were hilarious. I wish I still had some of those tapes. Jeannie also had a little brother. His name was James. I recently actually located him on Twitter. but he's not real active on social media, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him. But I'd love to find out what happened to Jeannie and where she is, and get a message to her, maybe get together again. Who knows? All right. Flash forward to probably 10th grade. Carol and Jeannie and I have been the closest of friends for now 2 years. One night, I'm over at Jeannie's house. I don't know where Carol was. It was just Jeannie and I that night. It could be that Carol wasn't there on purpose because she was the good girl in the group. Jeannie was pretty wild. I was pretty wild. But Carol somehow kept it together. She was like an A student. She was just a really, really good kid. So she might have said, I don't want to be part of this. Anyway, Jeannie's parents weren't home, and it was our first drunk. So I went over to Jeannie's house. It was probably like 8 o'clock at night, and there was a pool room in her house. So I remember we played pool, and Jeannie said she had some, her parents had liquor in the cabinet. So we went in the liquor cabinet, and the only thing that we could find that we thought would be tolerable to drink was peach schnapps. So we drank this peach schnapps, and it seemed like it went down pretty easy. And next thing you know, we're stumbling around this pool table, and we're laughing, and we are just wasted. I remember Jeannie sitting on the couch next to the pool table and crying and saying, I love my little brother. I really love my little brother. I know I give him a really hard time, but I really love my little brother. And she just went on this big guilt trip about how she treated her little brother. And then it was almost time for her parents to come home, so I split, went to my house, and my mother knew I was loaded, and she really didn't care. My parents were alcoholics. They literally encouraged my drinking from a young age. Not that I overdid it that night, but as a general rule, I didn't drink. Like Christmas, I might have a cream de cocoa with my mom. I sipped out of my dad's beer from the time I could walk, but I never drank, like really drank, daily or even on weekends regularly. None of that. Maybe because my parents drank, that wasn't my thing. I discovered pot in 10th grade, the same year I lost my virginity, the same year I started smoking cigarettes. Everything happened at 15. Like my first drunk, my first getting high on pot, my first cigarette, my first sex. That was a really big year, 1975. I guess Marsha Brady was no longer my idol. As I said, Jeannie's parents had some personal issues that I am in no way qualified to say, what's going on. My mother said something about maybe there was an affair. I don't know. But in any case, Jeannie eventually was sent off to boarding school in Colorado, I think in our 10th or 11th grade year. So then it was just kind of Carol and I for a while again. And Jeff came into the picture about that time. Jeff had red hair. He came from a Mormon family that was oddly strict and oddly not. I just erased that. That was stupid. Jeff was gay. Jeff was very gay. But you know how, well, maybe you don't know how it was, but in 1975, being gay was not the simple thing that it is now. You couldn't come out of the closet at 15 years old. Didn't happen. I remember Jeff talking to me at about 15 years old. about how other boys he thought must be gay, but he didn't come out and say that he was gay himself. But I noticed that he did a lot of talking about how so-and-so must be gay, and oh, he's so gay. And I watched Jeff kind of discover his sexuality. We used to go across from the high school and smoke cigarettes. That was the thing that we would do, and we'd try and fit one in between every class. So one day we're out there, and Jeff was always getting called gay by other boys primarily. The girls didn't. The girls really liked him because he was artistic, he was creative and funny and flamboyant. The girls loved him. I mean, he didn't get dates, but the girls loved him. So we're over there smoking our cigarette between classes, and one of the kind of troublesome boys just walking past looks at my friend Jeff and goes, "Hey, fag." And I was standing right there. Usually I didn't get to witness this, but I saw this happen, and Jeff didn't do anything. I mean, he didn't do anything. And I was furious, and I ran up to this kid and just kicked him in the shins. And I think that was really hard for Jeff. We talked about it later, and he just kind of, oh, I don't know why it bothered me. I wish you hadn't done that. And I don't, and I said, well, why? I don't know why. And I said, well, is it because I'm a girl and you feel funny about having a girl come to your defense? And he kind of acted like, well, yeah, maybe that's some of it. Anyway, by the end of that year, Jeff was pretty open about being attracted to guys. He was, like I said, he was incredibly creative. He sewed a lot of his own clothes and was obsessed with Elton John. He wanted to get his hair cut. Oh, God, I remember this so clearly. He wanted to get his hair cut like Bernie Taupin, who is one of Elton John's composers, or is Elton John's composer. I don't really remember. But Bernie Taupin, I remember the name. Now, Jeff, he's 15. He had a good head of hair. Bernie Taupin, on the other hand, had a receding hairline. Well, I remember Jeff wanted to get this haircut so that he would look like Bernie Taupin. And he said, yeah, and I want to get it, like, so there's no hair here. And I thought, Jeff, that's because Bernie Taupin's going bald. You can't, make yourself bald. That he was counting down the days to get this haircut. And he finally did get his haircut. I didn't see Bernie Taupin in it, but he did, so far out. As I said, he was really, really, really into Elton John. And in our senior year, there was the annual talent show. Maybe it was the senior talent show, come to think of it. Yeah, it was just seniors. So Jeff somehow recruited some of the most popular kids in our high school class to be a part of a band, and they were going to do Funeral for a Friend, which was one of Elton John's biggest hits. Jeff was such an accomplished pianist, whatever, that he was able to play that song, beautifully. And he got somebody to play the bells, and somebody else to play guitar, somebody else to play drums. And these were major players in our senior class. I mean, the captain of the football team and the most popular girl. And I don't know how he did it, but he charmed them into being part of this band. So it comes time for the talent show. He has created his own costume, looks like an Elton John outfit. He's made himself a pair of sunglasses that's huge sunglasses like Elton John. And they get up there and they do this piece out on the football field. The football field is where we held the talent show. It was such an amazing, amazing performance. And it was incredible. And when they were done, everybody gave them a standing ovation. the most popular girl who was part of this band, she was the singer, she came pulling onto the football field in her daddy's convertible Cadillac. Jeff climbs up in his Elton John gear, right, with the glasses and the outfit and everything, and he climbs up and he sits up on the back seat, you know, like up on the back of the back seat. And he's sitting there just like queen of the world. And they drove off the football field like that, with everybody just cheering. It was the most beautiful, beautiful scene from this little red-headed boy. I knew Jeff from first grade. We weren't really friends until 11th grade. But he was always kind of the picked-on kid in school. When we got older, you know, there was the thing about, oh, you're gay, oh, you're a fag. And yet, at the end of our senior year, at the senior talent show, he just flew his colors and was just regaled a hero. It was just one of the most awesome memories I have from high school, is watching Jeff just like come into himself like that. It was gorgeous. Another funny Jeff story. I wish I could show you a picture of Jeff so you could. He was just a character. I just loved that guy. He somehow, I don't remember how, got a hold of a pot plant, 2 pot plants, just little baby ones. Now this was 1976, 77, so still very much an illegal thing in California. But it was also a very popular thing. All the kids in high school and all the kids in our group smoked pot. We wanted to grow some. Somehow Jeff got chosen. And he's growing these 1, 2, 3, whatever little pot plants in his attic above his kitchen. His parents, of course, have no idea. His parents were divorced, so he lived with his mom. So she's got no idea that there's pot plants growing in the attic. And while she's at work one day, Jeff took a ladder, put it up, goes through the attic door, and is tending his plants, watering them, adjusting the little light that he had, whatever. And he hears his mom. She's home unexpectedly. Oh my God. So he's scrambling, trying to get out of the attic and get the ladder out of there before she sees it and questions what's going on. Well, he stumbles and comes through the insulation in the attic and catches himself and is hanging from a rafter with his body coming through the kitchen ceiling when his mother walks in. So she walks in, all she sees is her son hanging through the kitchen ceiling. This woman was a goddess. Do you know what she did? Before asking any questions, and she did ask questions, but before asking any questions, she runs and gets the camera and got a picture of Jeff hanging through the ceiling, which I've never seen a mother with such quick thought. I mean, who thinks to grab a camera in a moment like that? She did. She was amazing. So anyway, she got rid of his pot plants, and that was the end of that. Later on in the year, she found him with an actual bag of pot. You know what he said? Oh, it's Leslie's. So she calls me and she says, Leslie, this is Jeff's mother. Jeff has this bag of pot. He says it's yours. If you want it, you're going to have to come get it. And I thought, oh my God, I have to go like face this woman and get my pot. It was like, I thought she was going to like yell at me or call my parents or do something like that. She didn't do any of that. She was so awesome. I mean, it could have been really, really bad. But she actually handed it to me, just handed it to me. And I handed it back to Jeff later. So I've taken you up to 1977, which is the year I graduated from high school. Yeah, like I said, there's a few things that I left out. Those kind of go along with other stories I don't know, they're just for later. I hope you enjoyed this story time, and I hope you come back and hear my next spiel. And yeah, tomorrow's Sunday, Monday is my dog's surgery. I think we're prepared for that and have the stuff that we need. Of course, the doctor will be sending her home with a cone to put around her neck and a whole bunch of medications and stuff. I'm going to try and keep vlogging. Can I talk? I'm going to try and keep vlogging as much as I can, but needless to say, I'm going to be a little bit preoccupied with her recovery. I love you guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Bye.